Hey, what's up everyone? This is Music Tech Help Guy, and welcome to part 2 of how I write a song. If I'm being honest, I meant for this series to just be a 1 or 2 video thing, but what I think I'm gonna do is compose this entire song on video for you guys and show you almost every step in the process, from composition to production and sound design, instrumentation and arranging, and maybe even doing some vocal recordings and pre-mixing as well. Okay, so in the previous video, I built a harmonic sketch or framework using all root position triads in the key of A minor. So root position just means that each chord has a root on the bottom. So you have root, third, fifth, although it doesn't have to be in that order. As long as the root is on the bottom of the chord or in the bass, that means that each chord is root position. And just because I have the framework drafted out doesn't mean I won't change it later on. Sometimes a melody or a bass line or some other musical motive will just come up and it doesn't match the chord that's there in my framework. So the song will be slowly evolving over time and over the course of this series. In this video, I'm going to finish the harmonic sketch by adding 7th chords and applying smooth voice leading to the chords. But before I do that, I need to quickly tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Boombox. Are you tired of juggling multiple platforms for your clients and collaborators? Say goodbye to scattered files and endless emails and notifications. Boombox has been designed specifically for music creators and music collaboration. You can store, share, and collaborate seamlessly. You can even upload full DAW sessions using their Boombox Sync app for macOS. Enjoy secure file storage, time-stamped commenting, and shareable playlists all in one place. Join the Boombox revolution and elevate your music game. Visit boombox.io today and sign up for 4 GB of free storage. Okay, so let's go back to the verse. I want to talk a bit about voice leading. So right now, if you look at the bass and the chords all together, you're going to see that the bass and the bottom note of each of the chords are moving in the same direction. They're moving in the exact same direction. And so you have a lot of these chords where there's like a big leap from one chord to another. What I like to do to smooth out the chord motion is I like to take some of these lower notes and I like to pull them up an octave, or you can take some of these higher notes and move them down an octave, because you can see there's a huge jump between this chord and this chord. Like, I kind of like to think about this, like how would a keyboard player actually play this? If you had to go from here to here, that's a pretty huge jump and it's a little jarring sounding. So what I like to do is I'll take some of these bottom notes and I'll just bring them up an octave. You just select them and press Shift Option up. These are still the same chords. We're kind of inverting them, but because the bass line is still playing the root of each chord, it's not really a chord inversion, but you're going to get a much smoother sound. It's called smooth voice leading. And I could even pull these up an octave if I wanted to. So if you're using all triads, all chords with just one note at a time, you can skip straight to that step and do some voice leading. I'm going to undo my voice leading for a moment because I want to juice up this chord progression a little bit more with some 7th chords, some extended harmonies. So remember before how I said when you form a triad, you're skipping a white note, adding a note on a white note, skipping a white note, and then moving to the next white note. If you do that one more time, you end up with a 7th chord. So now you have root, third, fifth, 7th. And I won't go into like what each of these 7th chords are called. Like this one's an A minor 7th chord. If I jump down here to F, F, A, C, skip the D, add an E, this is an F major 7th chord. So these are actually 2 different types of 7th chords, but they're diatonic. We're only using notes within the key of A minor. And maybe on this E chord, this E minor chord, E, G, B, skip the C, add a D. And so let's do that. On some of these chords, let's add some 7th chords just to juice it up, give it a little more flavor. Do it on the 6 there. I'm a huge fan of doing it on the 1, the 6, and the 5. This was a 3. We'll see how that works out when I apply my smooth voice leading. The G I'm going to leave alone. Once again, A minor, we'll add the 7th to the top, 6 chord, 7 chord we'll leave alone, 5 chord we'll add it. So again, I'm not even thinking about the theory here. I'm just thinking about the spacing of the notes and what white keys am I using and what white keys am I not using. Let's see, that's E. Yeah, let's add that. And then we'll leave that one. Okay, so let's listen to that chord progression. And if just playing chords and bass is getting a little boring and you need like a rhythmic reference, you can just drop in any sort of drum loop that fits. This one is just the altered state beat, and it's playing in halftime. And that doesn't mean that that's the drums and that's the loop I'm going to use for the song. It's just, you know, a timing reference to kind of better hear how everything's going to come together. So let's go back to smooth voice leading now that we've got some 7th chords in here. Let's take all of our notes that are lower than G and let's bring those up an octave. And you are going to end up with some chords with notes right next to each other. So these are going to be, it's going to cause some dissonance. So what you can do is you can sort of make a decision here. You can try shifting one of these notes up or down an octave to get like a different tonality. I found when they're right next to each other like this, it's generally not a good idea. It doesn't sound good. But I found that when notes are 2 semitones apart, like 0, 1, 2 here, that's usually okay. But when they're 1 semitone apart, usually it's going to just cause dissonance. So you may have to make a judgment call there and, you know, take some of these notes up or down an octave to create a different sound. Like that just doesn't work, right? So let's go back to what we had before. And this one I'm just going to leave alone as is. So yeah, maybe let's just pull these up an octave. I think that'll be fine. And then these C's, that's going to create some dissonance there. So we have G, B. Yeah, let's take these B's out. Let's just not use those. Yeah, and that's all done with, you know, minimal music theory knowledge. Let's go over to the pre-chorus here. Let's maybe spice this up a bit. So we've got an F chord, F, A, C. Let's add a 7th to that. The G I'll leave alone. We got an E chord, E, G, B. Let's add a 7th to that. And, you know, I'm kind of just doing, honestly, I'm just kind of doing this with my ear and by sight. I'm not really thinking about the theory, you know, I'm not, you know, spending much time figuring out what every single chord is. I'm just kind of trying things out and seeing if it sticks, you know. I think the E chord, we can add that. Yeah, let's see what that sounds like. Okay, I don't like this, but maybe let's go up and up to G there. So we're just going to use the G twice, and then G, B, D, G. So it's just an octave. Let's maybe pull this up an octave for some smoother voice leading. I think I'm going to try this. I don't know if that'll even sound like. A, C, E, so it's just a 1 chord. G, B, D with an octave. And then F, A, C, that's the 6th chord, but with an octave. And you can also try out some custom movement and voice leading within your chords. You know, I have this da da da. Let me turn the MIDI on here. And then it goes down to this note. I could maybe add in a little quarter note here and just create this sort of descending little MIDI melody within the chord progression here. So there's, you know, a ton of different possibilities here in terms of, you know, how you can develop your chord progressions and take these really simple triads and build them out into something more complex. Okay, so let's move on to the chorus. Let's give this a listen. So this is 1, 6, 7, 5. You know, I'm going to add a 7th chord to the 6th chord, and I always kind of like to look for shared notes in between chords. So if you look at it, the 6th chord here, the F, A, C, E chord, has all 3 notes from the minor 1 triad in it. So this is A, C, E. This is A, C, E. We're just adding a low F to the bottom, and that changes the whole color of the chord. Let's add a 7th to the E chord here as well. And you can also try playing around with different rhythms. You know, you don't have to use just all whole notes and half notes or quarter notes. Like there's a kick right here on the and of 4 right here. So I could trim that back, pull this chord in kind of on an offbeat. Now I'm going to have to make the bass follow that rhythm as well. So I could do something like that. I could even maybe interject another chord here. Let's maybe try using the 3 chords. So this is 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's pull this down an octave. Or maybe even make this a half note. But I should probably also change that in the bass. So let's add, there's the C. And if we want this to sound a little deeper, maybe you drop it down an octave, like that. Oh, you know what? I already had that there. I already had the 3 chord there. So let me go ahead and just take that out. I don't want to be too repetitive with that. Yeah, so we'll do the same thing that I had over there, but just do it over here. And let's go ahead and do the offbeat thing as well. So we'll do, let's pull that back, pull that forward. We got to do the same thing in the bass. Pull that back, pull that forward. let's see, F, A, C, E. Let's go ahead and add that 7th there. And then I think this just repeats, right? Let me just use my bar snap and my marquee tool, and I'll just pull out all of that. And then we'll just copy and paste this over. Okay, so now I've got a rough skeleton or framework for my song. I can start adding in different instruments and just copying these regions down to those instruments, maybe adjusting the octave depending on what type of instrument it is. You can add arpeggiators to these chords and it'll arpeggiate the notes. You can start building your own drum beat. You can change the tempo if you want to go a little faster. Maybe we want to go 128 instead of 120. And you can even change the key. So right now we're in the key of A minor still, but if I wanted to move everything, say from A up to C minor, I could do that. I just have to know how many semitones I need to shift all of the notes up. So if you count from A to C, you start on 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and you count the black keys too. So C minor is 3 semitones higher than A minor. Or if I wanted to go down to F, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So F minor is 4 semitones lower than A minor. Let's go ahead and pull everything up by 3 semitones so that we're in C minor now. So if you just hold Option and press up 3 times, +1, +2, +3. And now I'm in C minor. And I just like to go through and start improvising melodies and, you know, writing lyrics to those melodies. And before you know it, you've got a working song. All right, so the harmonic sketch is finished. I can use this framework to start building out the arrangement and instrumentation of my song. I can start thinking about melodic ideas, bass lines, what VSTs or instruments I want to use, the tempo, the key, the style or genre. So this is why I like to do things this way, because it gives me a framework to build off of. I know some of you might be asking about the ultimate guide to Logic Pro and what the heck is going on there. That's definitely coming back on a regular upload schedule sometime soon. My new tracking room next door is not put together yet, but I'm going to get that up and running shortly, so stay tuned for that. And eventually I'll do like a new studio tour once I get everything set up. It's just taking a while to get all of the equipment set up, get everything unboxed and put together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. As always, thank you so much for the support, and thanks for watching.